Hi, I'm Vivian, and I'm the knitter.
And I'm Alyson, and I'm the crocheter, and you're listening to Keep Calm and Carry Yarn.
Thanks for joining us for episode 9 of Keep Calm and Carry Yarn.
This is our podcast all about crocheting and knitting. Again, I'm Alyson, and Vivian is my mom, so we're a mother-daughter duo, and we just, talk about our projects and other things going on in our lives, and this is kind of our project that we do together because I'm in Edinburgh and my mom's in New Hampshire.
Yep, and I miss you very much.
So, thanks for joining us. Any returning subscribers, thanks for keeping on coming back, and if you're a new subscriber, hello and welcome.
I'd like to thank a couple of Ravelers that said hello. Gilly, who is Gilly H2, and she's our first listener from Norway. Woohoo! And
or at least that's the first one that said hello at the very
I
least.
think I actually looked at least Ravelry members.
She's you've been stalking our listeners, I see.
No, I've been well, the members anyway. And Pam, who is Miss Pam Murphy, and she's a local to me listener from New Hampshire. So welcome, Pam.
Hello, Gilly or Jilly and Pam. So this week, our BuzzFeed quiz isn't actually a BuzzFeed quiz.
No.
I had to pick it because, maybe a week ago, there was all the things about how Harry Potter was turning 20, the first book.
Oh, is that why? There was a lot of Harry Potter in the news? Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, oh, come on, you should have known this. Yeah, so...
You literally grew up with Harry Potter.
Yeah. You bought me the book when I was
in second grade.
8 maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a BuzzFeed quiz. It is a quiz from Time, and it's just a sorting quiz, as you do. But specifically, they were teaming up with social scientists from Cambridge University to do the quiz. I don't really know. When you take the quiz, it asks you whether or not you want to have your submission available for the researchers to do their data on.
Was Time Magazine that put it out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Time Magazine. Anyway, so obviously, as longtime Harry Potter fans, the two of us have the houses in mind that we think we are. We also have our Pottermore houses because, and if you don't know what Pottermore is, it's a lot different than what it used to be. Because before, they envisioned it as this sort of digital way to introduce new readers to Harry Potter, and you went through the books scene by scene, and there was art and games and all of that, and they might have kept some of the games, but now it's more just sort of I don't know, what would you call it? It's just a website where...
Like, is it a social thing?
It's not really. There's like blogs and articles and stuff, but there's just a lot of extra new writing from J.K. Rowling, and it's almost sort of an encyclopedia, a Harry Potter encyclopedia, in a general way. Anyway, so we've got our Pottermore sorting, and actually, when Pottermore was first released, they did a big thing about the beta release, and only a few relative to how many people wanted to get in were able to get in by following these clues. And what did I do? I got in. Anyway, so...
Was I in the beta group too, or did I...
Yeah, I think I did one for you as well, so that we both could get in. Because part of Pottermore, the appeal of Pottermore for me, wanting to get in as soon as possible, was the whole sorting quiz, because J.K. Rowling herself had a hand in making the sorting quiz for Pottermore. So, for years before that, everyone would make their own quizzes and stuff, and you would take those quizzes, and they would all say something different or not. But this just felt like more real, because if J.K. Rowling made the quiz, then this is what you are. Anyway, so what did the Time quiz say you are?
It says you are in Ravenclaw, woohoo! Which is the same as my Pottermore house, and it has a breakdown how well you fit into each house. And it says Ravenclaw 48.9%, Hufflepuff 46.6%. So I'm probably... It's pretty even. Ravenpuff, yes. And then Gryffindor 4.6 because I'm not brave. And then Slytherin 0%.
Well, our results were very similar because I also got Ravenclaw with 51.2%, Hufflepuff with 48%, so also pretty close. Gryffindor even less than you, 0.9%. Apparently, I am just
because you're even less
big fat
brave than I
scaredy
am.
cat. And Slytherin also 0%. So normally
Okay.
on Pottermore, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Okay, yeah.
And I've made multiple accounts to just like take the quiz again because every time you do it, you get it slightly different. And like, anyway, I'm not going to go too much into that, but I came up as Hufflepuff.
So wait, every time you come up with Hufflepuff then?
I think, yeah, I did. I think I only did it twice. But I also, there was for a while someone who was collecting people's answers to try to, and she has hundreds, I don't know, about thousands of people's answers because not everyone gets the same questions. And each question doesn't have 4 answers. It's not obvious, like if I pick A, then that's clearly the Gryffindor answer or stuff like that, because sometimes there'd be an option of 6 or only 2. So she had this big spreadsheet. She was like working out how different questions weighted for different houses and answers and whatever. But yeah, Hufflepuff.
Okay, that was cool. What's next?
Cal Steph. So we've got 1 month left. The end date, in case anyone's forgotten, is August 10th, which will be about a month away once this episode releases. And you have 2 days after the 10th to submit anything that you've not finished. You can just count whatever you've done up till then. And I should probably say, for any new listeners or people who don't know what I'm talking about, the Cal is our knit along, crochet along, in which we are pitting knitters and crocheters against each other via yardage worked on. So the score, as it stands now,
we caught up a little bit more.
I think it's gotten better in that you are, anyway, crochet is at 45,773 and knitting is at 13,577.
There's quite a lot of yardage between this episode and last episode. Last episode, I think we only had 7,000, so we almost doubled.
Yeah, so you've broken over 10,000, so that's cool.
Yeah, woohoo, yeah.
And I think there was one knitter who
go knitters
who submitted 1,000 yards.
Really, but I'm looking at these humongous knitting projects and it's like, oh yeah, it's only 600 yards.
Yeah, I know. I feel really bad. Like the sweaters, like the sweater that you made for me, and it's only 300 something yards. And definitely,
well, that's just the sleeves though.
Oh right, yeah, okay.
Or even like the shawl that I made, that was only like, how much was that? I can't remember anymore. 300 something maybe.
I have a spreadsheet now. I'm collecting the craft, the type of project, and the yardage, and I'm just gonna, once this is all over, do some
math
stuff and kind of try to maybe come up with a system for next year, a point system instead of a yardage system, and just see how much is the average crocheted shawl, how much is the average knitted shawl, and just to see how the yardage worked out and how we can create a point system to make it a bit more fair. I don't know.
Okay.
More of an even playing field.
Basically, I was right when I said crocheting eats up more yardage.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, for anyone who's participating, thanks for participating. Or the amount of people who have submitted FOs and just participating in the chat is really nice to see. Yeah,
it's cool. We have our own little community.
Also, this Cal is very easy to submit to, so that probably helps. It's
it helps that our first
open-ended.
One is easy. If you have too many rules, then people are just not going to be interested anymore.
I guess,
right.
But if yeah, I don't know. So we can jump into whips.
I have the same whips as last time. Just my Evelyn May shawl. I'm about 60% done. But I haven't been knitting that much because, summer vacation, kids, extra kid.
Speaking of summer vacation, we should probably mention
that
yes, our podcast is on summer vacation right now. So we're not going away for the summer, but instead of releasing 2 episodes a month, we're just going to be doing one for this month of July, August, and September. And then we'll be back for 2 episodes in October. And in November, and probably one again in December because of Christmas.
All right, but that way we don't have to go away completely. Because I'm always sad when podcasters go on vacation for the whole month, for the whole summer vacation. Like, no. What am I going to listen to now? Okay. So anyway, that's the only whip I have is my MLM May shawl. It looks really nice. I'm about 60% done, and hopefully it'll be done the next episode.
Cool. So I have a couple of new things. The first thing is a top, so it's based off of a free pattern, the 91791 crochet triangle top by Yarbo Garn. I don't know, it's a Swedish company. And the pattern is in Swedish, helpfully translated also into Norwegian and Finnish, maybe. So none of which are in English. I tried putting it in Google Translator and it didn't quite work.
Wait, it's a top?
It's a really simple top. It's basically a halter top.
Uh-huh.
So it goes straight across sort of your collarbone area, and then it just goes down from there to your back area. It's just one piece. It's like it's a triangle top. And it ties in the back, and it's kind of all an open back.
Oh, I see.
So the problem is, even when you look at the picture, it's sort of like, well, it's just covering her boobs. There's a lot of side boob going on.
Yeah, I see that.
So what I tried to just do my own version, just based off of looking at the picture.
Well, in the pictures, there's one where the top part is like sheared, gathered up top.
Cinched?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's because the top part has these gaps to thread some yarn or a cord through, and then that's how it's tied. So if you just pull it tighter, it'll cinch the top. But I don't think that helps with the covering your boob thing, because you're just making the top part even more narrow.
Yeah.
So the pattern calls that you do it from the top or the bottom up to the top, but I did it from the top down to the bottom because that way I could control how long it would be, because I didn't want it to be too cropped. So I did that, and when I started, I realized that I wasn't making the angles of the sides. I was making it too straight, so it wasn't really covering my boobs. So I ripped it out, did it again. Then rather than just carrying on to make it a triangle, it sort of swings out suddenly so that I can, it's meant to be tied in the back, but I think I ended up making it too long, so I need to overlap them and add buttons and stuff. I'm not really describing this very well, am I?
It's a halter top.
It's a halter top, yeah, but in the actual pattern, it doesn't meet in the back.
Yeah,
you just have a little string,
yeah.
like a bikini. So mine meets in the back, and I'll probably have some sort of button system so that I can make it tighter or looser. I sort of did some darts for the boob area, and I'm trying to figure out how to do the top strap the best way. And I mean, I did it as best I could, but I have to wear something under it. Other than lining it, I think I'm going to maybe try my hand at lining it. But even then, it gapes a little when you twist in certain ways, and then your boob will just be like hanging out.
Can you wear like a bra? You just wear a bra.
Yeah, but it's like completely backless.
Like a pretty bra.
Yeah. It's definitely going to have to be one of those sorts of tops where you have to wear something under it or over a bikini.
Don't you have like one of those bralette thingies that are kind of pretty?
Yeah, I've got lots
something
of
like
bralettes. But sometimes it's just you just want the cleanness of like the backless look. But then when you have bra, yeah. So that's that. So I didn't use a pattern, and it kind of shows probably. But I started making it because I thought I wanted to make something for Hawaii in September, but I wouldn't have time to make a full cover up. And I used Lang Yarns Aurora, and it's 80% cotton, 20% acetate, and it's sort of a beigey color with red that carries through it. The red is sort of almost shiny, it's got a bit of a sheen to it.
On the screen it looks more gray than beige.
It's beige and red. And then the other thing I'm doing, which is another cotton project, and this one is in Rico Fashion Cotton Metallice, and that's 53% cotton.
You don't have that on your Ravelry page, do you?
I don't know. 53% cotton, 35% acrylic, 12% metallic yarn, and that's also in another sort of beige color with some silver bits of sparkle. So this is a present for my sister-in-law, either for Christmas or her birthday, which is in September.
Wait, let me see it again.
It's the Girl Boss Tote.
Oh, that's so cute.
By Lucy Yevdet. Djevdet. Don't know how to pronounce that. And that was in the Molly Makes issue 77, which came out earlier this year. I'm not sure what month. So it's a tote bag done in filet crochet. I think that's how you say it, filet. Where you do a mesh stitch, and that's sort of like pixels, and then you fill in certain
or a cross
ones,
stitch,
like a cross stitch. Yeah, you fill in certain squares of the mesh in order to get some sort of design. So this one says Girl Boss on it. And it's funny because when you work on it, when you're looking at it close up, I mean, I can see the letters, but I was kind of getting sad. I thought they weren't showing up well enough. But then if you take a few steps back, the pattern reveals itself.
Are you going to line it?
I don't think so.
Because if you line it in a dark color or something like
that.
Yeah,
I thought about that. Maybe. I'd have to, figure out how to do that. I don't have a sewing machine or anything.
You don't need the sewing machine.
Yeah, I know. So I followed the pattern for the actual Girl Boss text, but when I was doing my initial chain of the amount it called for, it was huge. And a big tote bag is fine, but I didn't want it to be overly large. So I ended up shaving off some rows and stitches from the sides of the pattern because there's a lot of empty space to make the bag a more manageable size. And it was still bigger than what it called for, or at least that's what I thought. Now that I've sewn the sides together, it actually is the size that it says it was going to be. So if I had followed the pattern, it wouldn't have been huge, but it would have been bigger than it. So it all turned out fine. And I did have to add some stitches again to the tops and to the bottom. And so normally it would just be basically 2 panels, or you do it really long and then you fold it in half. So it's flat. And I had done at the bottom, to give myself a little bit of extra length because I didn't think the bag was long enough, I carried on doing double crochets all the way along instead of the mesh stitch. So I thought, I'll just have a stripe at the bottom that's solid. And then that way also, if you put things at the bottom of your bag, I thought it might be sturdier. But then because the whole thing's done in a mesh stitch, and then I had done all these double crochets, it kind of was too wide. And so the ends flared out a bunch. So I did, what is it called? I tucked it in the corner and then sewed it shut. So these bottom solid stitches are like a proper bottom to the bag. So it's not just a flat bag. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very good. Wow, look at you. You're customizing the patterns, and you're translating from, what was it? Norwegian.
I mean, I didn't really do that because I gave up. But yeah, so I finished the body of the bag. I had to do the top part and then attach the straps. So I'm going to buy some leather straps and then a leather hole puncher so that I can do the straps.
Or you can ask your dad to use a drill like you did last time.
Yeah, well, it'll be fun. I think this would be good because I've seen other patterns for bags that I want to make, and they call for having a strap, and I just don't. At first, I thought maybe I'll go to a charity shop and get some old leather belts for cheap and use that. But I think if you can buy leather strips pretty relatively.
It's gonna have
cheaply.
2 handles, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tote bag.
I see 1 handle on the picture.
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna make it with 2 handles. There's
only been 1 project.
I'm pretty sure I'm the one who put it on Ravelry.
Really?
Yeah. Submitted the pattern to Ravelry to be like, this is a pattern now. Because I wanted to add it to my library or something. So those are my 2 works in progress.
Good job.
You don't have any FOs this week?
I have absolutely no FOs because I've been running around with 2 15-year-olds all week.
Okay. Well, I've got 1 FO. It's just the scarf that I was working on for Clarissa Beth and Claudia. AKA Crochet Cakes and Crochet Luna. They're Summer Romance Cal. It's just, more mesh stitch, basically, in a gray blue cotton yarn.
Have you worn it yet?
I have. I wore it the other day to work.
Oh, nice.
Because it's just a nice little light summer scarf. More of a fashion accessory than anything for warmth. Practical reasons.
Yeah. I couldn't wear a scarf in the summer. I'd be dying.
Well, you could do it here. It's not really summer weather.
Well, since I don't really have any whips or FOs to talk about, I'm starting a new segment. It's called Fantasy Knitting. Woohoo! So the first pattern I'd like to talk about in my fantasy knitting is Isabel, and it's a shawl. It's by Brandy Velton, and I saw a sample at the New Hampshire Sheep and Wool. I can't remember which stall it was, but it was a stall where I bought yarn. It has it's what did I say? It's a crescent shaped. Forgetting words here, and it's mostly in garter. And every few rows there is contrasting color, and if there's like little short row blips.
Mm-hmm. Blips, I like that. That's a good word for it.
Like little blobs that are short rows, and you do it like every, I don't know, so many stitches. So it's just really cool. And I think I would like to make this into like an infinity scarf instead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That'd be cool.
Instead of a shawl. That way I would actually wear.
Yeah.
And I think I'm accumulating a little bit too many shawls because I have a hard time keeping shawls on my shoulders to begin with. So yeah.
Although personally, I would pronounce that Isabel.
Isabel.
It starts with the Y.
Starts with the Y, Isabel. Yes. And the second thing on my fantasy list is it's called The Water Course by Karina Spencer, and it's a worsted weight cardigan, and it's got patterning on the edges. What's that?
Short sleeve cardigan.
Yeah, but I think I would make it into long sleeves. But it's got patterning along the like the button edge, except there's no button. Oh, there's just one button on the right at the boob.
Mm-hmm.
And is that cables? Not cables. It's just a different pattern along the edge, and then that turns into like little pockets in the front, almost like kangaroo pockets, but not, because it's a cardigan. And I think basically, I mean, I would like the sweater, but I want to look as good as the girl that's wearing the sweater. The girl that's, I don't think I would look as good as her, the model. Mm-hmm. So I just really like that shape, and I really like the pocket detail, how the pocket is worked in with the pattern.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I don't know if I'm describing it correctly. And then another cardigan that I want to knit, but I don't think I'll ever do it. It's called Lead Light, and it was in Twist Collective 2014 by Amanda Schutzger. Scheuzger. And
why would you never make it?
I don't know, because my color work gauge and my stockinette gauge is so different. I don't know how. I'd have to change needle sizes maybe, because there's at the yoke part, it's a cardigan, at the yoke part there's color work, and there's the cable. I don't even know. It looks like stained glass windows.
The color work,
doesn't it? Yeah, the color work part, because it's got the little cable-y things over it,
like running,
like intertwined. Oh, yeah. So I just think that's beautiful, but yeah, I'm a little afraid of that. I'm not sure how that works. And I just love the colors of the pattern sample. And I usually don't like to knit things in the pictured colors, but this one I really like. Yeah. And then last,
so is that why it's called Lead Light? Because it's supposed to look like stained glass windows?
Because they look like stained glass windows.
Yeah,
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, it is.
So maybe when I'm thinner, make it. Right now, I'm not thin.
But that has nothing to do with whether or not you think you can make it properly.
Well, then it just means I have to use more yarn.
Okay, and then your next one?
It's called a Maxfield cardigan, and I already bought the pattern to this, and I have the yarn.
Oh, that's cool.
And it is cool, isn't it? It's by Amy Christophers. It's got chevrons. I don't even know how to explain it. The chevrons run from it has kind of like a shawl neck.
Yeah.
So it runs along the shawl neck down.
And it's an open cardigan,
to the body.
No fastenings.
And it's open cardigan. Yeah. So I saw this sweater a few years ago in Boston. There's a girl wearing it. I think you were with me. We were at a restaurant in Boston, and I actually ambushed her, and I asked her, I asked her if she knitted the sweater and what's the pattern, and because we were having lunch with family at a Chinese restaurant.
Had she made it for herself?
Yeah, she made it in Cambridge, and she made it, and she had a cute little baby too, and she told me the name, and she gave me her Ravelry name because she's like, we're actually at a Ravelry meetup. I'm like, oh. So I took her name and then I friended her, and this was like when we first moved out here, so I didn't know anybody out here other than your aunt and your grandparents. So I friended her, and then a few years later, after we opened Pearl and Plum, I was donating a prize for, I think it was the Yarniacs
podcast.
Yeah, it was Yarniacs podcast, and then the winner was Anissa. I'm like, I met Anissa. That's not a very common name. And I looked her up, and she's the same girl. I was like, oh my gosh, I've already met you. So, and she lives in Northampton, and we happen to be going to Northampton the very next day.
Where she lives?
Oh well, it's on Ravelry.
Oh, okay.
And I PM'd her and asked her if she could meet us at Webb's because my friend and I were making a day trip to Webb's, and I met her there, and I gave her prize at Webb's.
That's so funny.
So that was a little bit of a small world type thing. So yeah, that's the history behind this cardigan.
Yeah,
I haven't made it yet, and it's been like 3 years since I first
it is a really nice pattern.
Found the pattern.
If you wanted to make one for me, I would wear it.
So I already bought the yarn. I bought a hand-dyed yarn for the chevron part. And then for the solid part, I couldn't find a color that I liked, but I bought Knit Picks, one of their bear yarns, and I'm going to dye something, either like in a silvery gray or a navy-ish blue or something. What? So I'm going to dye something. Hopefully. Oh, no, not navy. Either a purple or a gray. I haven't decided yet.
Wait, what color did you say the hand-dyed yarn was for the chevron?
It's multicolored. Lots of blues and purples, I think. I can't remember, but I set it aside. When I finally start the project, I will let our listeners know what color it is because I don't really remember. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's my fantasy knitting list for this episode.
I was going to say, I know it's not the right order, but did you have anything for a few of our favorite things this week?
Oh, yes, I do. But I forgot to put it in our notes.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say I didn't really have anything, but something that I thought maybe I'd mention during that segment, which I'll just jump into because you were talking about meeting someone off of Ravelry and stuff, is that I had a little encounter of my own where from Hand Dyed Yarns on Instagram, and she hand dyes her own yarn, in case you could tell. She messaged me on Instagram a while ago, and I don't know if I mentioned it on one of the episodes already, but she messaged me to say, I've actually met you before. I sold you a copy of The Wool Tribe
at
the Yarn Festival. Yeah. And at the time, I was standing next to Closabeth, and who was selling me the magazine, recognized Closabeth and said, "Oh, are you Crochet Cakes?" And that was, one of Closabeth's moment of being recognized. And then, so since then, I guess has listened to our podcast and realized, hey, wait, that was the girl that was with Closabeth that day. So she messaged me on Instagram, and I've been meaning to try to go to one of the knitting groups in Edinburgh that she goes to, but just have been busy and stuff. So she just messaged me the other week saying, I'm going to a meetup. It was like a women's meetup on Tuesday. Do you want to meet me there? So I met her there, and it ended up just being me, her, and the meetup organizer. We had a nice little chat, and she was wearing her Hotels of Bees shawl, and it was just really nice to like meet up with somebody like that. And potentially plans in the future to go for walks around town.
Nice. So is she from Edinburgh, or is she?
No, she is from Thailand, I think, originally, but she's been here for a few years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So she can tell you where to buy your Asian groceries?
I know where to buy my Asian groceries. I live
Okay.
right near them.
Okay.
2 of them.
Well, that's nice. But my favorite thing this time is my tablet.
New toys.
Well, it's not just the fact that it's new. It's the fact that I've had a tablet since 2012. And the reason why I remember the year was because that was the year we moved. And then your dad bought me one for as a consolation gift for moving because we moved so much and I didn't want to move. So anyway, when I first got it, I didn't realize how much I would use it with my knitting. I mean, I store my projects on there. I search for patterns, and of course, with Ravelry and PDFs, you can just download things instantly. And all my patterns are on my iPad. And so when I travel, I just carry my iPad, and they're all, I don't have to worry about. I just have to worry about losing my iPad.
Yeah.
But, so far I haven't done that yet.
It's a little harder to lose than a phone.
No, a tablet.
A tablet is harder to lose than a phone.
Oh, yes.
Because it's so big. Or bigger.
Yeah, so I love having a tablet and being able to store my my patterns, and also, the different apps you could use to make notes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
that's my favorite thing. Yeah, it's not just for playing Candy Crush.
Ravelry needs an app.
They do.
They don't. There's
It's a paid for app.
Oh, is it?
Uh-huh.
I thought they just had the people could use the Ravelry. I'm gonna say API, but I don't know if that applies to this case. But they can, other people have developed apps using Ravelry.
Yeah,
but it's not the full Ravelry thing.
Yeah,
it's
right.
not.
You're right.
You can only access the full Ravelry content on the desktop, the mobile version, on a browser. Whereas people who develop apps usually only take one aspect of it. So this app to do with Ravelry is specifically for logging your stash, and this app is specifically for something else, but it's not just everything.
Oh. That's a lot, though. I mean, Ravelry has a lot.
Yeah, but so does Facebook. I mean, obviously completely different things, but just saying. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can kind of just go into Mommypedia.
Sure.
So because I've been working on so many cotton projects, I've got my finished scarf and the top and the bag. My question was to do with blocking cotton, and if you even need to have if you even need to have to, if you even have to, and if you want to, how to do that.
Okay. Should I tell you horror stories first?
Okay, sure.
So I knitted a little sweater, and I decided to block it like the way I block. I think it was for Madeline when she was really little, like the way I block wool stuff, and I soaked it, and I'm pulling, and it just stretched. It was a mess. I ended up having to throw it in the dryer because I just didn't know what to do with it. Of course, I was more of a beginner knitter, and then I ended up throwing the whole thing out. And then it was not a pretty sight. So I don't even know what happened to the yarn. But anyway, the best way to block cotton is with steam. So either you put the piece, on your ironing board, and you take a wet cloth or a wet tea towel, put that over there, and then you just gently press that. Or if you have a really nice steam function on your iron, don't touch it.
Yeah,
don't touch it. Just, steam it.
Uh-huh.
Or if you have a steamer, use a steamer. I have a steamer. I can use a steamer. So those are the 3 ways that I know. I don't know of any other ways that you can steam.
Because I don't even know if I need to block any of these things. I don't know if there's any point.
No.
Probably not.
Not really. Not that. Not the mesh scarf.
Not the scarf. Definitely not the top. And not the bag, I don't think. Okay, that was my question.
Okay. That's, I don't know if I helped. On to our next section.
Nerdtastic.
Have you done anything nerdy?
Yes, I do have a thing I want to talk about. I just finished this morning reading the graphic novel adaptation of Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. And So the original book was written in the 70s by Octavia Butler, and she was a African American woman sci-fi writer. She died years ago. But the book, Kindred, was written in the 70s, takes place in the 70s, but it's got an element of time travel where the main character, Dana, she accidentally time travels to Maryland in around 1817 or 1815. Yeah. And it's called Kindred because she slowly realizes that she's time traveled to the same era as same era and location as her ancestors. And her ancestor is the son of the master of the house and one of the slaves. So it's also part slave narrative. And I read this book in one day, the actual novel. And
Did you cry?
Yeah, I cried. It was so good, though. It's the sort of book where you recommend it and you're like, this is such a good book, but not because it's a cheery book at all. It's very serious and it's very sad, but it's just so well written. And, it's, even though there's elements of time travel, it's not really a sci-fi book. It's more about the slave narrative and the whole, like, what happens when you put a modern woman into that situation. And then there's an interesting situation with her husband, who also at one point gets accidentally transported back in time as well. So it definitely, as a book I recommend. The graphic novel, I'd probably say don't read the graphic novel unless you've read the book, just because it can't do it. It's such a serious. There's so many big ideas and serious stuff to do with it that you can't really translate it all into
pictures.
The graphic novel, and they try, and part of it is how
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, but one of the issues they try to deal with is just sort of how humans can just be made to accept the condition of slavery specifically, and they try to touch upon it in the graphic novel, but it's just harder to do. I also am not a big fan of the art style. It's very sketchy and almost a messy sort of style. I just wasn't a big fan. There's this one picture of a baby, and the baby looks like a gnome. And I think it's just the nature of the
Let me see.
Oh, I lost it. I don't know where it is now.
I want to see the gnome baby.
Oh, here, I found it.
That's a baby? Where? Oh, in the corner. That.
Yeah, this one right there.
Oh, that's an ugly baby.
Maybe I'll take a picture of it later. Add it to the show notes.
Well, we did something nerdy too. We went to the drive-in the other day. It was a double feature. It was SpiderMan and Wonder Woman. Yeah, so SpiderMan was really good. It was a little slow in the middle. I got a little bored. I was like, "Come on, let's hurry, let's move along." But the story was good. The actor, what's his name again? Tom Holland.
I have no idea.
He played Spider-Man in the other one,
Avengers.
Yeah. He's pretty adorable.
Did you like it better than the last Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies?
It's so different. I'm not even sure how to compare it. I'm not sure. I may have to watch it again before I can decide. Like, watch them both. Like, watch Andrew Garfield and watch this one back to back. Because it's been a while since I saw the Andrew Garfield. It's kind of funny that they're both Brits.
Yeah. So
it was a double feature, and I told your dad, we'll be home sometime tomorrow, because I figured we'd get home after midnight sometime. You can't start the movie until it's dark, so it doesn't get dark until between 8 and 8:30. So I went in already I was already kind of tired and I had a headache. So, but I powered through the first movie, and the second movie I was like, okay, I should take a nap. So I went into the car and I took a nap I watched it a little bit, through the windows and stuff, and then at one point, okay, I can go sleep now. And then the next thing I know, I hear a buzzing noise. I'm like, what is that? It's like, I don't remember buzzing in this movie. So it was my phone, because we had silenced all our phones, but it would still buzz. So, and it was in the cup holder, the front seat, and I was in the back seat sleeping. And I'm crawling over, trying to grab the phone, and I grab the phone, and it was your dad. He's like, are you guys almost home? And I was like, the second movie's still on. It's still playing. And he's like, oh. He's like, okay, I gotta go to sleep. So he hung up, and then I looked at the time. It was 1:40.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like, oh my God, no wonder he was worried. But I fell asleep. I didn't even realize I fell asleep until I heard the phone. Like, well, I must have fallen asleep. And so the movie wasn't over until like 2:00 in the morning. And it's
Wow.
it takes almost an hour to get home. It's a
And you got already seen Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
but they wanted to see it again. We also took, so we were there with, it was me, Madeline, your cousin Jessie, and Madeline's friend. And I don't think the friend had seen Wonder Woman before. So, so then, yeah, it's a 45-minute drive. So we didn't get home until like almost 3:00 in the morning. Yeah, good thing I took a nap. And I was full of bug spray.
Good thing you took a nap.
Outside. And so I couldn't jump into bed. I had to take a shower. And, it was like just after 3 when I finally crawled into bed. And your dad's like, oh. He's like, I have to wake up in an hour. So that was our little drive-in. Next time we see a drive-in, a double feature, we're going to have to check the movie times, see how long the movies are before we decide whether or not to stay for the second movie. And we also saw Wicked, the musical. We saw that in Boston. Right before July 4th weekend.
And how did it compare to seeing it in London?
Well, it's kind of funny because like there's certain parts like, oh, I forgot about that scene. I forgot about that. The women that played Elphaba and Galinda, they were both really, really good. I don't remember I don't know any of their names. The guy that played Fiyero was not as good as our London Fiyero, I have to say, and not as, I think also the fact that he's kind of short. He wasn't very tall. Like our London Fiyero was very tall. He was very tall and very heroic looking in his uniform and his whatever, his rifle or whatever. And then when this Fiyero, because he's smaller, I mean, he's like the same height as the girls, and he just didn't look as heroic because he's so little. He was good. His singing was good, but not quite as good as the girls. Uh-huh. But it was good. I was very sad when it was over. Like, oh, it's over. So we enjoyed that. That's all we've done. So nerdy wise, nerdtastic wise, haven't done anything else. Just been running around with the 15-year-olds. So my sister dropped her daughter off. Well, she came over for the weekend and then left Jessie. So Jessie's still with us. So we've been doing touristy type stuff with her. Yeah. We went to Salem, Mass.
Nice.
I went to see the Witch Museum.
The one is it the one where you sit in the room and they tell the story with the wax figures all around the room? Yeah, it looked a little different because the last time I went was with Emily's 8th grade class. So that was how many years ago? That was a long time ago. That was like 2007, something like that. I don't know. So that was a long time ago. So they did change it up a little bit. It didn't look exactly the same, and the story was a little different. Yeah, I don't remember. Just went over the summer as well, or I went not in summer, February.
Yeah, because I don't remember them talking about the black slave.
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, I remember when I was sitting through that though. When they do mention her, they said they like insert some sort of like social commentary. I'm like, oh, that's new. Like that's gotta be new. Like it's just like, oh,
but they didn't even. I don't remember them even having her.
I don't remember. I saw it in 8th grade as well, and that was even longer ago. Yeah,
so I don't remember that at all. I wonder if they added that later.
I don't know.
Yeah, so we saw the memorial and cemetery, the burying point. Did a little bit of shopping. The girls ran amok all over the place. We were only there for half the day. But they didn't wake up until like 10 or 11, and like, okay, well, let's have lunch and then we'll go. So we went, and then we stayed for dinner because I didn't want to have to drive in the traffic. We ate dinner at it's like a local chain. It's called Flatbread.
Yeah. You're just babbling. I don't know that anyone really cares about your driving and stopping for dinner.
Okay, fine. I'll edit it out. I'll edit it out. How's that?
Anyway, we both have been babbling. Did you have any shop talk to
Yes, I do.
talk about?
I have shop talk. Shop talk. Shop talk. I've been very busy sewing.
Mm-hmm. What have you been sewing?
So much. I made a coffee bag.
All right. Cute.
So I made a few tote bags. One with coffee on it. One with rainbow kitties in yarn.
Oh, that's so cute.
Isn't that adorable? And then a llama face one.
That one I love as well. I'm secretly hoping it won't sell and then I can have it.
I did buy more than one of those, so I can make more bags. And then the funniest thing I made, were out of this fabric that I just acquired, and they have knitting chickens on them.
What is it with people and knitters liking chickens?
I don't know.
Why is that cats make
Why is
sense
that a
because
thing?
cats like yarn, and sheep and llamas make sense because that's what yarn's made out of. But why chickens?
I don't know, but it's adorable. Look how adorable that is.
It is adorable.
This other fabric has like little knitting quotes on there and stuff. And
Yeah,
I was
it's like
showing my
the same
sister.
color palette.
It is. It's the same. It's the same fabric line. They kind of go together.
Uh-huh.
And there's in the middle of this one. It says, "Read what it says."
Keep calm and carry yarn.
Yeah. So my sister's like, "How did you make that happen?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Keep calm and carry yarn." I'm like, we're not the first people to make it up. And so
Yeah.
she's not a knitter, so she didn't know. But she was impressed that it says "Keep calm and carry yarn" on our bag. So yeah, and this bag I named Kniticisms.
Kniticisms, nice. What else does it say? Oh, it says knit happens. You sell a tote bag that says knit happens.
Yeah, it happens. Happiness is homemade. All this, and I knit too. I have OKD, obsessive knitting disorder.
Life is short, knit fast.
Yeah. Does it count as aerobics?
Oh, if I knit fast enough, does it count
Yeah.
as aerobics?
Yep. And knitting
Cute,
is my superpower.
Cute.
So yeah, I have been even though I've been running around all over the place with a couple of 15-year-olds, I've also been very busy sewing.
Have you listed them yet?
Yes, I have. They will be listed when this episode goes out.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, I feel like normally now we would just chat about stuff, but I feel like we've already did our chat about stuff section.
Because we had a lot of chatter.
Yeah, because we haven't talked to each other.
I think more.
So this podcast ended up turning into Alyson and Vivian.
I think it's been more than a week. I think the last time I talked to you was the last episode.
Okay. Well, with that, we will say goodbye. You can find the show notes for this podcast on our website at kcacypodcast.wordpress.com. And I don't know if any of you listeners have noticed, the ones who watch our podcast, or don't watch our podcast, but rather just listen to it, the show notes now have pictures in it. So you can, if you're listening on, I use the Overcast app. When you look at the show notes, there's pictures in the show notes. So you don't even have to go to the website if you don't want to. But if you want to, that's where the show notes are. You can follow us on Instagram at KCACY Podcast. And you can find our Ravelry group. Just search Keep Calm and Carry Yarn Podcast and you should find us. And you can find the threads for the Cal to submit stuff or just chat about stuff. You can ask us questions, say hi in the welcome thread, and let us know what house Time Magazine thinks you're in. Time Magazine / Cambridge University. All things Harry Potter, we want to know. And yeah, you're probably watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast via iTunes or whatever podcast app you prefer. So you already know that. So I think that's it. So thank you for listening.
And remember to keep calm and carry yarn.